Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of us. And we have once again, I think this is our third, or no, I think it's our fourth session with Pastor Sugi. And we're doing something called as this one is called Mystical Journey as Sons. But under we are doing it under the umbrella of that session. But this topic and the subject that we are going to speak about and deal about this session is on higher consciousness. And I'm quite excited because I've been speaking lots about consciousness and all that stuff. But I promise you, Pastor Sugi is going to bring something different and really going to encourage us and empower us. And yeah, there are a lot of things that we're going to discuss. So welcome, Pastor Sugi, and this is all yours now.
Thank you, Pastor Vernal. Yeah, it's good to be back again. I think I've missed the last session in our monthly sessions, but I'm really very excited about what God is doing right now and also over the lessons that we have done. So just a quick, revision of what we did. You see, one of the things is God is progressive. He's constantly on the move, restoring humanity to the original intent, right? So it is all about, as our topic is, the big topic is actually Journey of a Mystic Son. So it's all about raising sons, walking as sons as mature, and being a mystic is actually about being mature. You cannot be a mystic without being mature. So maturity is a part of being a mystic son. And I just want to look at what again is a mystic. A mystic is a person who claims to attain or believes in the possibility of attaining insight into mysteries, transcending ordinary human knowledge, as by direct communication with the divine or immediate intuition in a state of spiritual ecstasy, a person initiated into religious mysteries. Okay, so in short, to put it short, is a mystic is someone who is in divine union with our Creator. Actually, it's very interesting about what is it being in divine union with our Creator. So we also looked at, before you can actually come into this state of higher consciousness, we need to come to a place of removing old mindsets. All right, we talked about it, about removing old mindsets of uprooting, pull down, break down, tear down, destroy, and overthrow. Only then can we build and plant. So how we think is very crucial to ourselves as kingdom-minded sons who are actively transforming society and nation. So my whole mandate and where I'm going, my whole journey is about raising up sons, mature sons, mystic sons, and it is about shifting societies and nations. So we all have, there is a big mandate that God has given all of us. And this is actually my passion and where I'm going, right? So today we are going to look at our mind and walking in higher consciousness and connectivity. It is an awareness of love and peace. So if I look at it, and what is consciousness? The Oxford Living Dictionary defines consciousness as the state of being aware of and responsive to one's surroundings. A person's awareness or perception of something, and the fact of awareness by the mind of itself and the world. All right. So it is just being aware. I mean, simply put it, is being aware of what's happening around you. And I'm not just talking about consciousness, about each one of us, but I'm talking about a higher consciousnness. So which means God is always in our picture. So we have this world-class tennis player, Martina Navratilova, who was once asked, How do you maintain your focus, your physic, and sharp game even at the age of 43? And I liked her answer, and she gave a very humble reply that the ball does not know how old I am. You need to stop yourself from stopping yourself. All right. So every game in life is actually played on a 6-inch ground, the space between your 2 years, right? So we don't live in bungalows or flats or apartments. We actually live in our mind, which is an unlimited area. Life is great when things are sorted and uncluttered here, right? So when our mind is messy with hatred growing on the table, regrets piling up in a corner, expectations boiling, somewhere in our mind, and secrets are stuffed under the carpet and worries littered everywhere, it ruins our real home. This is our home actually. So the key factor to performing well in life in every arena is the ability to control the quality and quantity of your internal dialogue. I mean, we all have this internal dialogue. So, so what are you speaking to yourself? What is your narrative? Okay. So this is where, the word of God says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so it is, right? So the heart is also is a thinking organ, and actually our mind is actually the storage, so it's like whatever is going on, it's actually from your heart, and then it is actually in your mind. So as we are talking about mystics, so as mystics, we need to be aware how our individual consciousness, all right, connects with each other, and it is able to shift nations. So as I was saying, my whole mandate and salvation is not just about ourselves. Salvation is always the starting point, was just the starting point. And then we are on this journey where God is taking us, and it is to build the kingdom. So it is, when we say the kingdom of God, it is actually a two-pronged directive. One is we are rising up as sons, and we are rising up as kings and priests, and it is also collectively we are building the kingdom of God. So we are all connected, we need each other, and God has made it such that each one of us carry a speciality and a puzzle. We are a puzzle, puzzle piece, and God has the whole picture for mankind. All right. And so this is where, as we walk in higher dimensions and higher consciousness, and also realize that we are connected with each other, this is how we are able to actually shift a lot of things that happen. And today I can actually see the results of some of the things that we are doing as we come together. We may think it is not enough, but I still believe in a spark of a matchstick actually is able to dispel darkness, and it is able to dispel darkness. So it is said that if we took the entire population of the world, and it said that today we have 7.7 billion people on earth, okay, and as we are made up of all atoms and all that, and if we removed all our empty spaces in between the atoms, so the entire human race of 7.7 billion people can actually fit into a single cube of sugar, of that size.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what it is. So so much for a solid world, right? And this is where Albert Einstein actually said that reality is merely an illusion, and what he means is the physical world is an illusion.
Absolutely.
So the hidden truth of reality is this universe is built on pure energy, pure consciousness. It only appears and it feels solid because that's how our brain is programmed to perceive and sense it. So our consciousness actually has no physical boundaries. Is intimately interconnected everywhere. All right. Though it has been written in ancient books and proven by modern science, we continue to behave like it wasn't new. All right. So, and we continue to use the old paradigm model of a physical universe when trying to change the world and fix its problems. All right. So the fight against poverty, animal cruelty, environmental destruction, corrupt politicians, right? We see that everywhere. Injustice and hatred is not something that can be done, physically, right? Because we live in a purely energetic, conscious-based universe. So everything is about energy, all right? Everything is about frequency and everything is about vibration. So when we fight against any problem or injustice with anger and resistance in our heart, what happens is our consciousness is literally seeding the energy field of humanity with negative contracted energy. So we are actually like, when I'm fighting against, okay, let's say corrupt politician, because that's a favorite topic all over the world. So what we are doing is we are starting with a point of anger, yeah, why are these people doing that? And so what we are happening is, because of this seed of negative energy in us, you are actually adding on, you know to the energy that is in the world. And so what happens is, um, all this negative energy actually comes together. So on the physical front, it may seem like, all your protests, we go and hold placards and you are doing protests. It can seem like, okay, all right, give us a memorandum and things like that. There may be a slight improvement, all right, but there will be no ultimate resolution because of the negative energetic seed that we have planted, and that will be alive.
Yeah.
All right. And so and this negative seed that is planted, it will unite with energy of its kind from around the world, and it will necessitate the manifestation of new problem. And that's how reality actually works. Consciousness literally creates physical
Creates
reality.
reality. Yeah.
So this is where, when we look at it, this is how God created the world. He did not created it physically, but it was all in seed form, so everything is actually in seed form. So my state of consciousness, along with everyone else on the planet, is what is creating our planet's future moment by moment. Okay, but we have been like miseducated and misinformed, so we think the parliament is going to shift things. We think that the judiciary is going to shift things. We think that the laws are actually going to shift and change the nation. Okay, so because we are fighting for a better world on the physical front, but what is the underlying consciousness is serving as a blueprint for more injustice and for more problems to be born into the world. So it is a vicious cycle, and this won't end until we wake up to the truth. The truth is that no amount of fighting and protesting and campaigning will create lasting change as long as there is anger and hatred and resistance in our hearts. You know, we have all been down these futile paths for endless centuries. So we have been talking about racism, we have been talking about unity in the nations, but how are we bringing it up? When we talk about racism, you see, throughout the day and throughout the months, we are always talking about this race is like this race is like that. And so what we have put in a lot of seeds into the cosmos, in the energetic system, that negative seed is there. So we may think that one problem solved and a new one springs in place, necessitated by the negative energy that solved the first one. So when will we realize that there has to be a better way? So this is where I actually talk about it is so important as we as believers be the spiritual government over nations. Okay, so if all of us who are kingdom minded, and all of us as we understand these things and we rise up as the spiritual government over every nation, then you will find that you are able to that negative energy will actually be diminished, will actually be removed, because of what you are perpetuating, all right, what you are bringing into the situation, because you are bringing in the light, you are bringing in the frequency, you are bringing in love, which is of the highest frequency. So when we keep on doing this, and as we keep speaking into the environment, as we keep speaking over the spiritual realms of our nations, so this is what is going to happen is, as it may seem like we have only like one person speaking it, or two people or three people speaking it. As you speak it, the darkness actually dispels, little by little it dispels. And what happens also by love and frequency and the vibration is it remains in the spiritual realms. It doesn't really go away. That positive energy is actually remains. All right. So this is where we need to realize that there is a better way, right? So I was actually very excited when I came across this experiment that was actually done 4 decades ago, but it's something that no one took really notice. So this was a scientifically controlled study where they had a group of 7,000 meditators who actually meditated for 3 weeks in a state of love and peace. Wow. And during this time, it was discovered that the global crime rates dropped by 16%. Wow. Global suicides and car accidents also dropped. Global terrorist activity also dropped 72%. So you can see that the entire world, I mean, it was not completely 100%, but you can see a drop in the statistics because of a group of 7,000 meditators who stayed in coherence in a higher state of consciousness, a state of love and peace. Because during that time, they were not thinking about anything negative. They were actually in the position of love and peace. But the only thing is, like, they were like connecting with God, and God has no name. It was like, okay, we are connected with a higher consciousness. And so I was actually thinking, how much more if we as children of the living God, as we as sons, as we come in connected with the creator of the universe, and we are coming in through the blood of Yeshua, we are coming in through the door of Yeshua, how much more is it going to shift and change? So this is where I am a very strong advocate of meditation, because every time we meditate, is actually we are coming constantly into an intimate relationship with the Lord. We are coming constantly with a face-to-face relationship with the Lord. It is actually shifting our waters, it's shifting your thinking. It is actually shifting the way you see things, because when you are, see, this is where we are called to know our identity, and your identity and who you are in God. Then what happens is, the garments of the soul, of garments of compassion, of humility, of kindness, of mercy, of this is from Colossians 3, of a love, long suffering, and charity is actually unity. And as we put, they're all together like 10 garments there. If you go back and you look at it, there are 10 garments of the soul, which is, and one of it is peace. The last one is peace. So if we were all walking in this, where we have put on these garments, and then we are in a position of meditation, and then you are speaking into the environment, this is where you are actually going to see shifts and difference. So as I was just sharing with Pastor Vernul just now before we started that, hey, let's do this, because we have a greater authority because God has given it. And it's, the thing is, we are not just going to do it by ourselves, but we have the whole collaboration of all the heavenly beings, the cloud of witnesses, the men in white linen, but we come together, and and if we can make it a global thing, right now, maybe we'll start with Asia first, and then let's make it a global thing, and let's see how things shift, and personally, I am also seeing this because we have started with speaking over the nation, for Malaysia, and this is where we are aligned with the four faces of God. This is part of our meditation that we do now, the four faces of God, and with the elements. So when we are engaging with the elements, and these are all part of our meditation, so we find that a shift is actually happening. So this is where, as I said, is like we do not pray for the nation, but we come in with the intent of shifting the nation. So every time we come together and step into the physical realms, it is already with the intent that we are speaking, we are shifting the nation, and we are releasing righteousness, His justice, and I can actually see it because we have been doing it constantly for a number of weeks. And just with a number of weeks, we can actually see differences coming in. Slight differences, but I still think it is differences. So I'm actually looking at it like, if we were to do this for a year, all right, how is it going to be? So this is where it is like our higher consciousness, because we are connected to the divine, and we are in divine union. And actually, if you understand how it is when we were born from above, when we were born from above, we were actually taken back through the timeline where Yeshua was slain before the foundations of the earth. And at that time where we were in the mind of Christ, and at that time where there was, there were no sins, there were no negative stuff. And what was given to us at the point of salvation is that we received the soul of God, part of the soul of the divine. We received the Spirit of God, So what was given to us, that's why I say we are born from above. And so this is where it says that in 2 Corinthians 5:17, we are a new creation. So I'm no longer of the old. I'm actually a new species. So God actually created, every time someone is born from above, He actually creates a new species. So that's why it says there's no father, no mother. It's a new species. So this is advertisement, all right? So this is where you need to know the priesthood of Melchizedek. So this is how it comes in, all right? So I want to encourage you to...
We're gonna share about the program that is coming up. Sure.
Yes, right. So part of it is you actually see it here. So this is what it is. So what happens is when we were born again, we became in divine union with God. Everything, that's why I said everything that you needed of God is actually within you. So as we are on this journey, and as you come into the higher consciousness, as you understand who God is in you, that's when you start seeing the manifestation. But everything that God um, needs to give it to you, it's already there, and it was given at the point of your salvation. So today we actually talk about this. I was actually doing it in my church, and it's like, you can always go back and revisit your point of salvation, where you were born from above, and what actually happened at that point. And it's also, it's a time of whenever we take communion, this is what I say, we are reminded of where we came from. So we came from heaven. We came from the very throne room of God. We came from the divine, and the divine is actually inside of us. And so as we walk in this, and this is where whatever we speak is heard by creation. See, God created creation to hear everything we say. So this is where we are the most powerful species. Man is as they say, the ace up God's sleeve. If we are the most powerful people, that God has put his intent into us. So this is where it is like, when we understand this intent that God has given us, and we start walking in this, and you put everything together, and that's why I say we need each other. You see, it is no, that's why as sons, it's no longer like somebody is higher and somebody is lower, but we are all as kings and priests. But it's just that your manifestation is according to your revelation. And actually, at the point of salvation, and as we have received of the divine, so this is where all the mysteries of God is actually available to you. Because you are a part of God. You are a part of God, and this is something we should never forget. We are a part of God. So with this information and with this reality in us, I am a part of God. God is in me. And so this is how, as we speak with that consciousness, with that higher consciousness, so this is how you are able to shift. See, everything goes. See, God looks at the intents of man's heart. He's concerned about the intent. All right. He's not concerned about what you do and how you do it and all that. I mean, a part of it, yes, but the major portion is actually your intent. What was your intent? So today, as we look at it, as my intent is shifting my nation, it's first shifting myself, and then it's shifting my nation. So God is there to help me. He's there to assist me in whatever assistance I need. He's there to assist me. Right? So all this is because we don't live in a physical universe, right? Our universe is not physical, all right? So these powerful waves of love and peace are felt subconsciously by the entire collective consciousness of humanity, and it affected mass behavior without people even realizing it. So can you imagine, people without the Lord shifted so many things? How much more we who know the living God, we who know the creator of the universe, and with our intent, because when they did this experiment, they did not know what would happen. They were just like, okay, we are just releasing love, we are just releasing peace, but they had no there was no other intention. But as they saw it, so now that we have seen this, like, we can when we do it with this intention, all right, that it is going to shift our environment. So, we can actually see what is going to happen. And this is where, when you talk about corrupt politicians, without the politicians realizing it, they are shifting. I think India will like that. I mean, anywhere in the world, the politicians and the people in government start shifting just because a group of people actually decided to come into that position of higher consciousness and being connected with one another. All right. So it is time to wake up, to hidden truths of reality. Okay, the world will change by fighting for change, all right, not fighting in the physical, all right. So the new paradigm is that it empowers each and every single one to change the world in a real and a lasting way through the power of our consciousness, how we can actually change through our power of consciousness. And there are no limits to our power when I'm aligned to a more truthful view of the world. So this is how God created the world. You see, when God created the world, it was by thought, by speech, and by action. So this is where we are starting, we start with our thoughts, and then our speech when we speak, so this is where we do our decrees and declarations. And then you're actually seeing the actions. So the love I feel in my heart is an actual power that I have. Actually, if we really understood our weapon of love, I mean, we don't think love as a weapon, but it is the greatest power. It is of the greatest frequency. You see, I literally have the most powerful force on earth. Okay, so every one of us has unlimited amounts of love, and when we plant these seeds in the collective consciousness, so what is going to happen? All right. So if we all align ourselves at the same time and the same day, and we say, all right, let us walk in this. And it's very easy. It's just about closing your eyes and you open your heart and you are sending love to the world, right? So feel the love and the peace. Let your consciousness abide there. So, you can do this even when you are by yourself, all right? Uh, every time you are just releasing this. So this is where, like, when we pray for the nation and we step into the spiritual realms, we actually hold the nation in our heart. You know, we step in and we hold the nation. We embrace the nation with love, and what happens is, you see, when you hold something so close to your heart, it's the nation can feel your heartbeat. It can feel your consciousness of your higher frequency of love. All right. So we can start doing it, as you release love and peace. And every second I actually do it, it rewrites our planet's future with new energetic blueprint. All right. So any action that takes, so after this, when once you have released all this and you have put in all the seeds, so any action I take will be spontaneously inspired by love. And it infinitely will be more powerful than which is fueled by righteous anger. Today, when people do protests and all, what is the energy that they are carrying? They say, oh, this is righteous anger. But even as it is righteous anger, what is it? Is it positive or negative? It is actually negative. You see? So love can lead to courageous, assertive actions. It does not mean being passive. But even without physical action, I'm able to change the world on a foundational, energetic level that actually creates reality. So I'm a son. How much more? We are the sons, and we have the divine capabilities that God has given us, and I'm entwined with the divine. So how much more, and when we release it, you see, we are going to see this. This is what we are made for.
Amen.
This is what being a mystic is.
Amen.
And throughout the world, we have actually seen what happens. Wonder if you have heard of this, the 100 monkey rule. All right. So it is said that a group of people, there's also another study that they did where they actually fed these monkeys sweet potatoes. They dropped the sweet potatoes on the ground, and what happens is, the monkeys took the sweet potatoes to eat. But there was one monkey that decided he is going to wash it. All right. So as this monkey went and washed it in the water, and they found that the rest of the monkeys started doing that. So these were monkeys. Okay, this is an actual experiment. You can go and Google it up and see it. But when this is what they say, the 100 monkey rule, but roughly it's like as 100 monkeys on that island started doing it, the monkeys on another island which had no connection also started doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is where it talks about collective consciousness. So it says that even among animals they have that. So how much more we people like us, and who are connected with the higher consciousness of God and with the divine, and we are also connected with each other. I mean, we are not separate. Like, it's not like we don't know what is happening. And with this internet and the Zoom, we all know what's happening, with different groups and all that. So what is happening is that a shift is actually happening, and this is a time. So I guess this lockdown thing has its good points, because we are all coming into this, and shifts are happening, right? So that was about the monkeys. But today, when we look at it, as one person starts releasing light, and we are definitely more than one person. I mean, there are actually millions of us who are walking in it as sons, or on the journey as sons, mystic sons. So there are so many of us walking in this. So how much more are we able to shift the environment around us? How much more are we able to shift society? How much more are we able to shift nations?
Yeah.
Right? So this is where even the entrainment, you know about entrainment, about the experiment they did with these grandfather clocks, and how these clocks, when they had all these clocks in the room, that each one was, at its own frequency. But after some time, one was like, going this way, that way, everywhere, But after some time, all the clocks started going the same way.
Wow.
All right. So what happened was, the higher frequencies actually affect the lower frequencies. So this is what it says, like, we are the light, so that's really what God meant, that you are the salt and the light of the earth. Matthew 5, when he talked about it, is like, wherever you go, we actually carry the light of God within us. And so that's why we are able to shift things that happen in the environment, whether is it in a governmental place, or whether it is in any place, anywhere you are, we are able to shift. Like years ago, we used to hear this about, oh, we are Christians, we shouldn't step into temples, we shouldn't do this, and oh, don't go there because that is a very dark place, and things like that. But actually, if you really understand who you are, we should be able to step into a temple and actually shift the environment there.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, because of the higher frequency, and the lower frequency always has to follow the higher frequency. And do you know that the lower frequency is always looking for the higher frequency,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So this is where, as we step in and we walk in this, anywhere we are, you know, anywhere in the world, it is able to actually bring about shifts.
Mm.
So when I came to know this long ago, and this is what I do with my students, because most of them are, you know, the sons of Ishmael. And so I believe in, you know, as we are a higher frequency, we are actually able to, you know, release love. I mean, what I'm doing right now is just releasing love into, of course, I'm also looking at, you know, the child improving in terms of education. But, you know, more than that, you are releasing love, because I'm looking forward to a time when everyone is going to come into the knowledge of Yeshua,
Amen.
you know. And this is where you, because you have released love, one day they will actually come looking back for you, because of the love you have released in their
Amen.
life. And so they will look for that. Oh, they will
Amen.
remember. And so this is where we are releasing truth into the hearts of the people,
Mm.
you know. um the last time, I think last week when we prayed, we could actually see a river of truth that was actually flowing over the nation. And it you know, and how water finds its own level, you know, when you actually, like, you were to pour water over a space, water is going to be everywhere, you know. It will find its way into every nook and cranny, you know. It will find its way. And so what we could see was the river of truth was actually like permeating the whole nation, you know, as it is permeating the whole nation. And this is where, as we continually do it, right, we are going to see it, you see. So I would just want to encourage you. One of the ways, okay, there are many ways, but one of the way is meditation puts you at a higher frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because during that time, and of course, meditating with the Hebrew letters, who are actually living beings, who are living letters, actually also does shift things. But even just plain meditation, where we are, you know, in line with the thought
Mm.
of the Father, of Yode Vave, and you start flowing in this love frequency and vibration, it is the highest level, you see. So
Amen.
this was how the world was created. And today, you know, we frame things in our, you know, we frame things in our mind, you know,
Mm.
like thought, speech, action. So in the same way, we frame, you know, um, we form it, and then you feel it, you know.
Mm.
As you release, you are actually feeling. And this is how we can actually shift things. So even this about, you know, I'm sure, because, you know, we have been in intercession and all that for a long time, and we have heard, oh, there are principalities over nations, there are strongholds over the nations, and you need to do all the spiritual warfare, and
Mm.
you need to fast, and you need to pull down. All right, let me actually say this:
Mm.
the enemy actually cannot do any principalities, you know.
Absolutely.
They cannot make, you know, a stronghold is not built by a principality, okay, because they do not have dominion on earth, because God gave the dominion to men.
Mm-hmm.
So where did these, uh, you know, the where did the darkness, the world of darkness, where did it get its authority from?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so it is only according to
Mm.
the power and authority that man has
Amen.
given the demonic realms.
Agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's why today when I look at it, and I mean, there was someone who told me, I have a very high calling, and that is high spiritual warfare. I'm like, then you have no idea, you know, because actually, if you really understood this, you
Hmm.
know, all the principalities are there because of strongholds,
Yeah.
and strongholds are what? It is because man has given it to them by our words. So
Hmm.
that's why I said, with all this anger and what we have been doing over the years.
Hmm.
So that's where these strongholds have been built, and principalities have been built. You see, so it is because these principalities actually, when you say principalities, actually it also goes for the spiritual realms, okay, even the things of the Lord, the angelic and all that. So when
Hmm.
let's say I will use the word demonic, all right, so these demonic, they actually feed on our negative energy.
Hmm.
They feed on, on our fears, they feed on our anger, they feed on our criticism, they feed
Hmm.
on our complainings and murmurings, you know
Yeah.
so because of that, and because they have been feeding over the years, so that's why their dominion is is kind of big. Okay, I'm not going to say it's big, but it's
Hmm.
kind of, all right.
Hmm.
But we can demolish it by releasing the light, by releasing a higher frequency, because those things are of lower frequency,
Amen.
you know. So that's why in Colossians 2 it says God paraded them, he stripped them of all their powers.
Hmm.
So the enemy actually has no power. The only power the enemy has is what you give the enemy.
Absolutely.
As you keep talking about it, yeah, that's the power you are giving the enemy. But when you realize, when you come into the realization the enemy has no power, and you
Hmm.
change your language, you know and so you find that they don't come near you. you know
Amen.
so
Yeah.
actually you can see a difference in how people are doing, even deliverance right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, is if you are expecting drama, of course you get a drama, you know but when you're doing deliverance for somebody and you know your authority, and it's like, you know who you are of the higher frequency, so there is no way actually any of this demonic can actually continue on.
Yeah.
All right, so everything is on our linguistics narrative. So one of the things, I just want to encourage you today is listen to your narrative. What is the narrative that is coming out from your mouth? Not only your mouth, but in your thoughts, because it all starts here.
Yeah.
It starts as your thought, and then eventually it comes out as speech. The moment it comes out as speech, action is already happening.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
this is where, you know through meditation, we are able to actually shift our thoughts
Hmm.
to be in line with divine union with
Hmm.
our Father, and you're in divine union with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And because of that, because we are so intertwined, I mean, more so we as believers right now, because right at the point of salvation, you became intertwined with God.
Hmm.
And when you realize it, and you start walking in it, and you start speaking in that way, I am divine, you know I have the divine nature of God. Wow, I tell you, no demon will stand in front of
Amen.
you.
Amen. That's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so excited, and also because of the media is feeding us with a lot of stuff. So this
Hmm.
is where, I believe, as children of, as believers, if we through your media. So I like what you're doing, and all the different ministries are doing.
Yeah.
It's like through their media we are shifting mindsets.
Yeah,
We are letting people know about higher consciousness, and and how we are all connected, and how we can create.
absolutely.
So I'm
Wow.
so excited about all of this that the Lord
This
is.
is, yeah, this is wonderful, and we've been I love the fact that you spoke on this particular topic, because we've been now almost speaking on consciousness so much. I personally has been focusing on it, and I love the examples that you gave, how 7,000 people consciousness brought the brought so much of good into the world. And this the important point that we can take is the consciousness is the root of everything. It's like when we try
Yeah.
to do stuff uh, at a political level, in the governance level, we are just touching the tip of the iceberg. We are just touching the surface. But when we get into meditation and start changing the consciousness, and moving to a higher consciousness, now we are getting at the root of stuff and really making that big difference. So uh, you know, people think, go do some stuff, work it out. Uh, that is how things work. But we need to get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that the world is right now in a lower consciousness. And
Yeah.
the moment we rise as sons and matured sons into higher consciousness, then we will actually start seeing differences in our life,
Yes.
differences all around.
Mm.
And yeah, so that's the very reason you spoke about collective consciousness and all that stuff. And that's the very reason, I personally took this initiative in our church to start this collective consciousness prayer every morning. We all around the world get down half an hour in the morning and do some meditation, chant Yod He Vav He, take communion together, come with a little bit of positivity in the morning. And I think the first hours of the morning when you do this, the remaining day is impacted by such things. So, and yeah, we are looking forward to increase that group. We are right now almost around 70 of us in that group. We are looking forward to be more than 7,000 now, so that we
We will.
impact
Yeah.
we impact the nations. Yeah, so somewhere down the line, Pastor Sugi, myself, and everybody, all the sons in the world, get together. You know, that's our dream. Get together and be in a higher conscious state, so that we can impact this world, transform this world, because the world is waiting for the sons of God to manifest.
Yes.
So, so that's so awesome. And yeah, there is a we are to do this. There are so many things that we are working towards. So I'm doing the morning prayer. Pastor Sugi has her own ways of meditation and all that stuff. And now I think there is this program, conference, online conference, that Pastor Sugi is also working on with Dr. O. It's called Melchizedek Priesthood, and it's going to be in October
Ninth,
10th, 9th,
ninth and 10th.
9th and 10th. So, guys who are watching us, viewers, I strongly recommend. I'm going. I'm joining this conference online, so I strongly recommend, if you are interested, if you are in India and if you are interested, please contact me on my Facebook Messenger, or I will be giving the WhatsApp on the description below of this video. And if you are somewhere else, maybe you can contact Pastor Sugi. Uh,
Yeah.
Pastor Sugi, would you like to speak something about the coming conference? Like what?
Yes. Yeah. So this
Coming
is
things?
about the Melchizedek priesthood. And actually, if you many of us have always wondered who was Melchizedek. Was he Jesus in the Old Testament, or was he Shem, or was he some other king, or was he a heavenly being? Because in the New Testament, then we hear again Jesus was of the order of Melchizedek, was a high priest of the order of Melchizedek. And so we are also of the order of Melchizedek. And we are wondering, many of us, I have not got answers for all my questions on Melchizedek. So this is a place because Dr. O is, he's a Jew and he has all these mysteries which he has studied. And he's actually going to start with the very basic of Melchizedek. And one of the what I heard knew was, I mean, this is many years ago, was it was Melchizedek that, not Melchizedek as a person, but it was the priesthood of Melchizedek that actually sacrificed Jesus before the foundations of the earth, And so this is where we are all under Melchizedek, and as where we are going as sons, as kings and priests, it is actually more important for us to be priests, And so this is about our function as priesthood. So it's not about the Aaronic priesthood, it's not about any of the other priesthood, but it is actually about the Melchizedek priesthood, because Jesus himself was under this priesthood. So how much more for us to learn about it.
Awesome.
And one of the things is I would actually encourage you to register and hear it for yourself. And after hearing it for yourself, then we come together to discuss about it. Because sometimes, the whole conference is a lot of knowledge, and it's a lot of revelation. It's a lot about mysteries. There may be some things that we may not be able to grasp, depending on, again, your level of maturity, right? But let me tell you, it is an eye-opener, because just the last conference that Dr. O did, which was actually for Australia, was on the upper temple. And I was like, what is the upper temple? And it was really amazing about how the upper temple, which is actually it is actually the millennial temple, and how it actually has chambers, where we as priests are actually able to do a lot of shifting and alchemy. There's a lot of things that we actually need priests more than kings.
Wow.
So it was really interesting about that. And so this is a conference that is in Asian timeline, because most of Dr. O's conference, because it's worldwide, most of it is set to American times. But this is a conference that is set to Asian time zones.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I really want to encourage you to come for it. Those of you who are in India, so we have actually brought the price down, because normally Dr. O's conferences go for 100 USD, but this, because of Asia, so the price for India is only 30 USD, which is 2250 rupees. It's actually a very good price. And different countries are paying different prices, like Singapore pays 80 USD, Malaysia pays 50 USD, Philippines pays 40 USD. So we kept the prices, I kept the prices according to the affordability in different nations, because it is not about money. Dr. O is not really interested in, gaining money, but it is about people coming to learn. We want more people to walk in this. So I encourage you. So for India, you have Pastor Vernal, Pastor Prem, and Brother Gabriel in Bangalore. So they will register for you, and they will make the payment to US. Because if you go to the website, it is US 80 straight away. Because we are going to have people from all over the world coming in. So this will also be very interesting, because Dr. O is not just doing a conference, he's speaking into Asia. Okay, so how much more? And so we were just talking about, all these people. So can you imagine all of us over higher consciousness? and and we are actually speaking
Yeah,
over Asia and the nations in Asia.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
so guys, if you're interested, and you should be interested, if you're watching us throughout this session, uh, hop in, register yourself for this conference where Dr. O is going to speak about Melchizedek priesthood. So if you're in India, I'm the guy you got to contact. And if you're outside India, maybe Pastor Suge.
yeah,
Uh, yeah.
yeah.
So also Prem Samuel, Pastor Prem Samuel, and you can contact them if you're watching from his church. That contact your Pastor Prem Samuel. Um, and yeah, so that's it. So this was so good and so well put. The whole session about consciousness and all this stuff. I think everything starts with consciousness. We are conscious. Everything around us is about consciousness. I made that video on this, so if you have not watched your first time on our channel and you're listening to this, go ahead and also listen to Christ consciousness. You will get a lot of information on that, and if you need any questions, any doubts, any question to be cleared, you can always contact me, Pastor Sugi, on her Facebook account, and we will be gladly able to answer your doubts, clear your doubts. So once again, thank you so much, Pastor Sugi, for again coming, and she comes almost every month on our channel to discuss, to share, to teach us, and we call this program as Journey of the Mystic Sons. So each time she gets something amazing to all of us. So once again, thank you so much for making this time for us and sharing this amazing stuff that you shared today. Thank you, Pastor Sugi.
Thank you, Pastor Verno. I really enjoy being with you all because it's like to see things happening all over the world. I'm so excited about all Pastor Vernal is doing, and this is like taking us step by step,
Yeah,
to go on as our journey. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at our conference next month.
yeah,
And so continue on. So if you do have questions, even in the YouTube channel that Pastor Vernal has, you can also put your questions
yeah.
there.
Yeah, put in the
Yeah.
comment section below. Yeah, and also if you want to join our morning, for us it's morning here in India, but we have people all around the world. If you want to join in for some online, what we call as collective consciousness prayer, drop in a message and we will help you and guide you how to get joined to it. I'm not sure about Pastor Sugi. You have something like if online prayers or something like that where people can join in? Then
Yeah, I'm not we do have press, but it is not online because as I'm very concerned about my nation, Malaysia,
yeah,
so we are actually doing one where we are speaking into the nation, but I'm slowly having Asian countries.
yeah,
So there's going to be one that I'll be doing end of the month, which is going to be for Asian countries. And
okay,
this is also how you can shift countries.
yeah.
So I will let you know, and that is going to be once a month. So once
Wow.
a month, we will come together from different nations, and
Mm,
and this is where we actually speak over our nation. So this is where you know there is a spiritual government over your nation, and we
mm,
are now coming as a spiritual government over Asia.
wow,
So
that's
so
amazing.
it is for shifts to happen in all the nations that we are connected with. So that
Wow,
will be coming soon. All right. So
awesome.
thank you.
So keep yourself connected to us, be in touch with us to get into all this stuff. We are going to journey together. Uh, So be in touch. Bless you guys. Love you. And see you soon on our next video. Bye.
Bye. Love you all.